So this is a piece of spalted silver birch that I found in a log pile. I've already turned it to a round blank and it's been standing for about 2 years. And this is a candlestick holder that I'm going to place in the top. I'm going to place it like this, and then I'm going to turn it so it's got some kind of shape to it like this, almost like a vase or a standard candlestick. And this is an old tabletop from a school. I'm not really sure what type of wood it is, but it's a dark wood, so it'll contrast quite nicely, and I'm going to cut that in at an angle like this. First job is to cut this at an angle like this. My table saw wasn't quite big enough and I felt a bit insecure trying, so I just thought I'd do it by hand. A quick whiz with the belt sander just to get the varnish and the finish off the, we'll call it mahogany. Then over to the bandsaw just to cut it roughly to shape. So once glued together, there's not so many sticking out edges when it goes into. So here we are, here's our 3 pieces we've got so far. As you can see, that'll stick onto there, and then this piece will go back onto there, almost just making like a mahogany sandwich. And there we go, and as you can see, it makes a bit more sense now. It just makes that bit easier to turn once it's in the lathe. So now the glue up. I drilled a couple of dowels through the centres of everything just to stop it slipping when it glued together. It's a bit of a mess trying to glue it up and get it all level, but it got there in the end. But trying to clamp. There you go, this is about 2 days later once the glue's had a chance to dry. It's not perfect, but it's in the lathe, and once it's turned, it'll be fine. So here we go, just roughing it down so it's all back to being balanced within the lathe. This is always the tricky bit, just trying to get the rough edges off. But a bit of patience and take it easy and it soon gets there. Once I'd done that, I thought that the piece didn't really have enough height that I wanted. So what I'm going to do is I've cut 2 more pieces of that mahogany from that school countertop. 2 together for the bottom and a single one for the top. And I'll use the lathe as a clamp and I'll glue them in place like so. Again, just a couple of dowels just to hold everything in place. And here we are, the finished blank ready for turning now. This is the base there, and it just needs all turning round again, so boom, done. There we go. Now it's all round and I can see where I want to go with it, and it's just a case of working it down until I get the desired shape. This is definitely the most enjoyable part of the whole process. Just working away. I've got no plans. I'm just making it up as I go along. and we'll see what comes out of the finished piece. There we go, very roughly turned. It obviously needs sanding and maybe a bit of more finesse, but generally that's the shape I'm going to go for. And now it's time to cut the recess to put the candlestick holder in the end, like so. So here we are, gently hogging away the material. Just gently at it and keep stopping the lathe and trying the piece to make sure it gets to the desired size. I don't want it oversized, I want it to fit quite nicely. Then it's just sanding, sanding and more sanding. Once I'm happy with the sanding, it's then onto Yorkshire grit. Again, you just work your way at it. You can see the shine forming as I'm using the Yorkshire grit. It's fantastic stuff. And then a coat of wax just to finish it off. And there we go, the finished piece. More than happy with that. And while the wax, I'm just giving the wax a chance to dry. It's a bit of housekeeping, clean up my mess with a face mask on as always, just to keep the dust from getting on my lungs. And here we go, the finished piece. It's turned out really, really nice. I'm really happy. I've kept it nice and chunky. So A, it'll last, and B, the spalted birch was quite punky, so I didn't want to go too thin in case it broke, but the colours in it are absolutely fantastic. More than happy with this piece. This candlestick holder is actually going to be a centrepiece for a Christmas dinner table, and as I'm guessing it's probably going to be used year after year. Well, I'm hoping it will be. I thought it needed a better storage option, so I'm going to make a box for it. First of all, pallet wood glued together using some of that mahogany as a strip down the middle as an accent piece. Run it through the thickness planer just to get it all level and smooth. So as you can see there, I think it's a lovely contrast between the light and the dark, and it totally matches the candlestick. And my thickness planer with its new blades hardly made any mess. Yeah, okay. So I'm simply going to use a dado joint for the ends and mitered joints for the four corners. Having the table saw makes this really simple with a sliding miter jig that I made, and it's just a case of measure, 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 and then cut once. So working my way through it, and this is just a bit time consuming, but not a difficult job. There you go, as you can see. And then the ends will just fit straight into there like that. A nice simple joint which leaves a nice little overhang. There you can see I've mitered the edges as well for the corners. So once it's all together, it'll be fine. And let's hope my clamps work better than my hands do at holding it together. Now it's time for the glue up. Glue, glue, more glue and more mess. And plenty of clamps. These clamps are absolutely fantastic. They square it up as well as keep it nice and tight. Take a bit of adjusting to set up, but absolutely fantastic clamps. And then lots of sanding with a fantastic battery powered hand sander I bought. Made the job quick and simple and gives an amazing finish. quick coat of wax, just clear wax, put it on, then I leave it a couple of minutes and then I buffed it off. Now it's time to run it through the table saw again to turn it from a solid box into a lidded box. This bit's always a little bit precarious because as the last cut comes, it tends to pinch this blade a little bit, but it's not too bad if you take your time. There we go, look. And now just a little bit of hardware, 2 hinges on the back and a little flip latch on the front. So there we go, finished little box. As you can see there's a little segment where the black metal candlestick pin goes in the front just to keep it safe. And overall I'm very happy with this. So here we go, the finished piece. As you can see, it all matches and it's nice and chunky, so hopefully it'll last. And that spalted silver birch just came out fantastic with the mahogany as a great accent piece. And hopefully it'll be on tables for years to come at Christmas. Thank you for watching and tune in again soon for another one of my videos.